The International Association of Genocide Scholars has as its purpose to uphold and clarify the legal and historical understanding of genocide. And that association has passed a resolution declaring Israel's actions in Gaza to meet the legal definition of genocide under the 1948 UN Genocide Convention. Joining us now via Zoom is Emily Sample, Director of Research, Evidence and Learning at the International Association. Emily, good afternoon.
Hello, pleasure to be here.
What aspects of Israel's actions in Gaza meet the legal definition of genocide?
Well, as you'll see outlined in the resolution itself, it follows the UN definition of genocide from the UN Genocide Convention of 1948 that outlines that there are 5 different ways that it's possible to commit genocide. And then those include killing members of the group, causing serious bodily or mental harm, deliberately inflicting conditions of life calculated to bring about the group's destruction, and imposing measures to prevent births. And so what we have seen in Gaza is, over the last 23 months, is that all 4 of those have been happening and continue to take place.
What's the weight of a resolution like this? It has, I understand, no binding aspect to it. It is a statement of what?
For us, it is a statement of showing some level of consensus within the scholarly community of the understanding of genocide in Gaza. And we think that it's important to show because many scholars don't feel that they have that they can face the professional or personal consequences of discussing Gaza individually. That as an association, we're able to speak up and point to that consensus among genocide scholars.
But I mean, even within your association, there's obviously, well, it seems that there is some reluctance around this resolution because it would appear that somewhere around 140 of the 500 members of the association took part in the vote, if you like, on the resolution, of which 120 said yes and 20 said no, which means that there are 360 who chose not to express a view on the resolution.
Yeah, and I would say that that's pretty standard for most membership voting protocols in associations like ours. We have passed about 13 resolutions over our 30-year membership, and most of them come to this similar level of voting participation. We do have a requirement of 20% of the membership participating to reach quorum, and 2/3 of that membership passing the resolution for it to come into action. And all of those were met for this resolution.
Because I've having been covering this as an interested observer from a long way away, but I think all of us have some kind of emotional stake in what is happening in Gaza. It seems to me that the fact that the resolution has been passed is going to be seized upon by those people who have believed and have been saying for a long time that genocide is happening in Gaza as evidence that they are correct. I'm already getting WhatsApps from listeners pointing to the issue that I raised about the low number of votes within a 500-strong body. And it just seems impossible to move people away from the views that they have on this. And, you know, even if and when the ICJ declares that South Africa is right to approach them and declares this to be an act of genocide, that's not going to change views.
Well, so I would say a couple things to that. You know, first and foremost, I recognize that on the face of it, it looks like a low number, but that is the reality of voting in this type of forum. There were many members who didn't feel that they wanted to vote one way or another and abstained. There were other members who it was simply, a very busy time of year for them, and they did not get around to their emails despite having 30 days to do so. There's a variety of reasons why our members may not have voted, but I think it's important to point out that the of the voters who did participate, the vote was overwhelmingly in to pass the resolution, and I think that kind of quorum is more pivotal to this conversation.
I am already being besieged by WhatsApps from listeners who are on the Israeli side in this matter, and there's several lines of attack from people who refuse to be critical of Israel's actions in Gaza. One is that the information is false, that there is no hunger in Gaza. The accusations of starvation and famine are propaganda ploy. There is, members of Benjamin Netanyahu's government have said that explicitly. There is no starvation in Gaza, which there quite clearly is. And the other sort of major line of attack is, well, what did Hamas expect when they did what they did nearly 2 years ago now?
Yeah, so I would say that one of the benefits of this being a resolution passed by scholars is that it does hold up to fairly high scholarly rigor in terms of the citations that are used throughout the resolution and our own membership's analysis as to whether or not to pass the resolution. In terms of, what did Hamas expect? I don't think that we can blame anyone for a genocide except for those perpetrating a genocide, and that, Hamas, which, if you look at the very first line of the resolution, it notes that Hamas's actions on October 7th were also international crimes, and this, the association is open to any member putting through a resolution to recognize these international crimes. No one has put forward a resolution to recognize Hamas's crimes. And so that, is not a blind spot, but rather simply has not come through our membership yet.
Thank you very much. Emma Sample, Director of Research and Evidence and Learning at the International Association of Genocide Scholars.